Committee on State Tribal Relations. Connie, would you please call the roll?
Senator Elaine Bowers. Here. Senator David Haley. He's on mute.
Present.
Present.
Haley.
Senator Mike Begg.
Here.
Representative John Alcala. Did I say it right? Representative Will Carpenter. Here. Representative Christina Haswood.
Here.
Representative Tom Kessler. Representative Sean Tarwater. And Justin H. Witten.
Here.
And Daniel Burrows, AG's office. Okay.
I believe that's enough for a quorum. 6 members that we need. So my name is Justin Witten. I'm the governor's designee on this committee, and my role is a very limited one, to serve at the organizational meeting for the calling of a election of a chairperson and a vice chair. And in even-numbered years, the chairperson shall be a member from the House of Representatives, and the vice chairperson shall be a member from the Senate. Do I hear a motion for a nomination for a chairperson from the House of Representatives? Senator Alley.
Thank you. I would like to nominate Representative Will Carpenter.
Is there a second? Second, Senator Bowers. Any discussion? Any other nominations? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. All in favor of Representative Will Carpenter to serve as the chairperson for the Joint Committee on State Tribal Relations, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Congratulations, Chairperson Carpenter. I'll turn the meeting over to you.
Thank you very much, and thank you, committee, for electing me. Next, we need to select a vice chair. I would nominate Senator Alley.
Ms. Haley, I second.
Second by Senator Haley. Sorry about that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, very good. Thank you for that. Next, we have ranking minority from the House. Representative Haswood. I would nominate Representative Haswood to that position. Second by Senator Fagg. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Very good. Welcome to the committee. Okay, next we have a couple items of business. We have 2 folks that would like to address the committee. Oh, okay. Very good. Thank you. First, we'll start off with Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation. And we have Chairman Joseph Rupnick. Thank you very much. Welcome to committee.
Thank you for having me. As you stated, my name is Joseph Rupnick. I'm chairman for Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation. And I did pass out a brief document that I would like to go over a little bit here today. For those of you that don't know, I'm a service-connected vet. I served this country for 13 years honorably, and I'm a lifetime member of the VFW, lifetime member of DAV, and an active member for American Legion Post 410 Wet'awsett. I also serve the nation as a tribal chair and the main spokesperson for the nation. I shared with Senator Alley and the Senate President just a brief document that is in front of you, kind of recognizing the unique relationships that tribes have with government. The U.S. Constitution outlines that American Indian tribes Under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 13 states that Congress shall have the power to regulate commerce with foreign nations among several states and Indian tribes. This determines that Indian tribes are separate from the federal government and the state government, and the states do not have power to regulate commerce with the tribe unless those tribes agree. And so last year we kind of went through this deal where we asked the body to approve a amendment to our compact, which I thank you, that has gotten through, but now we have another tribe that is going through the same negotiations there too. Also under the Constitution, Article 6, it states that the Constitution and laws of the United States made in pursuant thereof, all treaties of which are made under the authority of the United States government shall be the supreme law of the land. And for the Prairie Potawatomi people, Prairie Band Potawatomi, we have 44 treaties that we entered into with the U.S. government. Every one of them has been broken in one form of fashion or another. The last treaty that we signed was in 1846, and that was from for the purchase of a reservation in the territory of Kansas, with proceeds coming from the ceding lands, 5 million acres in Illinois, and ceding lands in Council Bluffs, Iowa. We use that to purchase this reservation. And I kind of bring that up because unless Congress, under the Non-Intercourse Act, diminishes that reservation still exists. And so during our negotiations with, under the sports betting compact, we feel that there is gaming going on within the boundaries of the reservation that the nation does not have a compact with the state on. And that violates a couple of different federal laws. I think that needs to be addressed. And we are working through those steps with the federal government to address those. The other one that we have and that we usually get hit up a lot of times from different senators from different groups kind of addresses the state recognition of tribes. Because there is now currently a process to federally recognize tribes, we feel that any group, fringe group out there that is seeking state recognition, the states do not have the authority based on the Constitution and federal law to recognize them as a group or as a tribe. That violates the Equal Protection Clause. I do get senators that ask me, do we support this group or that group? I think there's 3 groups in the state of Kansas that actively pursue state recognition. And I would ask that this body and those in leadership to, number 1, ask 2 questions. Are you a member of a federally recognized tribe? And if so, then are you the elected designated representative to speak on behalf of that federally recognized tribe? If you can't answer those 2 questions, then the default answer should be, well, I need to speak with the federally recognized tribes. I am one of those elected representatives, more than happy to speak to anybody about that. The other thing that I wanted to bring up too, and this one here has kind of been sitting on to the side, and I'm really not sure how I'm going to work this, but under the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, the first article in there that it states that further be provided that nothing in this act, and this is the act that actually allowed Kansas to enter into the Union, shall be construed to impair the rights or properties pertaining to the Indians in said territory. so long as such rights shall remain unextinguished by treaty by the United States and such Indians, or include any territory by which the treaty of any tribe is not, without consent of said tribe, to be included within a territorial line or jurisdiction of any state or territory. But all such territories shall be accepted out of the boundaries and constitute no part of the territory of Nebraska until said tribe shall signify their assent to the President of the United States to be included within said territory of Nebraska or affect the authority of the government of the United States to make regulations respecting such Indians or lands or properties by treaty law or otherwise have been competent to the government to make this act had never passed. Really what that is saying is that tribes have to agree to be part of that state or that jurisdiction. I can only speak for Prairie Band, and we have never agreed to that, which brings me up to a couple of different points. Right now, we are in the process of establishing a utility corporation. While we do enjoy electricity that is currently served on the reservation, the problem is we are served by 4 different co-ops or energy corporations. Service for any one of those different sections varies depending on what the problem is or how it's going. Under our laws, we would like to be able to make a change to the KCC to allow tribes to have say over how energy and how we interact with those different corporations affect our members on the reservation. I think right now that they have the rules over all of that, and I bring this up just because of the Kansas-Nebraska Act. We've never agreed to that. So back in the 20s when they created the KCC, it was just included in there. And we as a sovereign nation ask that this be looked at and corrected. The other part that we have too that we're asking this body to take a look at, and hopefully we can work together with the tribes, is over the water issue. I had brought this up a couple of times again. Right now, I think there needs to be more state oversight over the rural water districts. The current water district that serves our reservation, which we are being the largest consumer of water from there, we have no voice, we have no say. When we tried to elect somebody to that water district, we were given the runaround and basically saying that we were not following by the current bylaws, not the bylaws that were published on the website, and that we were effectively blocked out. We did have a person that worked for the nation that was on the water board, and once they found out that he was leaking information to us, they effectively removed him from that position. So it seems to me that, you know, given the fact that water is a resource that we really need to be taking a look at, we need to be able to get a handle on some of these fringe groups out there that are kind of operating like the Wild West. And we as a nation, we understand the importance of water. We want to make sure that we have the best quality water for our members and everyone that lives on the reservation. And we're asking that we look at something there through this body, through either the House or the Senate, to help us work and make sure that we are managing that resources as best that we can. One of the other issues that we had, and of course I spoke on behalf of the conveyance of the Shawnee Mission Manual Labor Boarding School conveyance, and in that Prairie Band Potawatomi, we want to make sure that the 4 resident federally recognized tribes have a say on anything that happens with that. We would like to see that turned over to a tribe, but how that works out and what are some of the processes that go along with that, I don't know yet, and I haven't heard anything about that or any other bill that's going on with that, but we want to make sure that our 4 tribes are at the table to be able to help with those decisions and moving that along. And then finally, one of the other issues that I have, and this kind of comes up a lot with transportation. It seems that certain county and agencies use our population as a basis for dollars to come to their areas. However, we receive no benefit from any of those dollars. For example, on the reservation, we pay taxes. We have a lot of land in fee that goes to the county, yet there is nothing done on our roads. There is nothing done to help our nation or our members out there. The roads that are currently on the reservation are what the tribe paid for, are through our gaming revenues. And so there is a disconnect where many agencies will use the population of the reservation to receive funding, whether from the state or the federal government, yet we receive no benefit from that. Those are kind of some of the 4 issues that I hope that we can work through and address as we move along, and I would welcome any questions.
Very good. Thank you for that. Committee questions? Senator Francisco.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So you started off with talking about utilities and oversight by the Kansas Corporation Commission. So when an agreement was made, and this goes back to the discussion over Holcomb, the oversight of the electric cooperatives was taken out, removed from the Kansas Corporation Commission. So the situation that you have is all your areas being served by rural cooperatives?
Right. I think there's 2 rural cooperatives up to the north. Evergy serves one. That's where we're in the negotiations right now with Evergy, because we're trying to get a government contract at government rates. Before I was elected last year, we were being served or rated as individuals. We are a sovereign nation. We should be treated as such, just as any municipality. And when we questioned or wanted to add in language that would recognize tribal sovereignty, they came back and said, well, these rules are governed by KCC. We can't change any of that. So we are a sovereign nation. And those are some of the corrections that we would like to see happen on there.
Mr. Chair, I'm so pleased that Senator Fagg is also serving on this committee because he's chair of utilities, and it may be possible to have an informational hearing on this, and that could bring some of these questions up, and we could have representatives from the Kansas Corporation Commission talk with us about their view, and hopefully you could be there.
Thank you.
Committee, further questions? Senator Alley.
Thank you, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
On your water, you're served by a rural water district. Does that rural water district only serve your nation, or does it serve others?
It serves others, but we are the largest consumer, so our casino, our members, our housing authority, all get serviced by that same water district. I think what they had put into one agreement many years ago was that the nation would not seek a reverse osmosis system to make sure that the water that we are getting is clean and pure. And today, I still get reports from EPA, from our child center, of heavy metals and traces of lead that are in our drinking system. I bring that up because on top of all the other problems, I'm starting to notice a large increase in the number of tribal members that are getting cancer. And I don't know if that's directly affected because of that, but it could be.
Who else, and I don't know the exact, but are there other communities that are surrounding your reservation that are served by that?
There are other communities. Holton, for example, they get theirs from Banner Creek, so they have a direct contact with Banner Creek. Ours is served by that rural water district 4, I believe it is.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Seeing none? Very good. Thank you very much for.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Next, we have Iowa Tribal Chair Tim Rod, WebEx. Tim, can you hear us?
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we just can.
Can you hear me?
Very good, yes, we
Yes.
can hear.
Okay, they can hear. Yep, they're shaking their head. Yes.
Welcome to committee.
Turn that all the way down. There, you have volume.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Misty. I know what I'd do without my chief of staff here. So, good morning. I'm Chairman Tim Rod. I've been in leadership here with the Iowa Tribe for about 15 years now. Prior to that, I was in law enforcement. So, Chairperson Carpenter and members of the committee, we're joining with you today in our chamber, council chambers, and we have our full council here along with the staff as well. So we too are a federally recognized Indian tribe located in 2 different states and 3 different counties. Those 2 states is Kansas and Nebraska, and then in Kansas we have Brown and Doniphan County, and then Richardson County in Nebraska. Currently today we have almost 4,900 tribal citizens living not only within the res and within the state, but across the whole nation. And I would also like to echo some of Chairman Rupnick's comments too. It's a lot of the same commonalities that they're experiencing that we are too. So, and it's very encouraging to see that the tribes are working together along with the state to kind of correct some of these issues that we are experiencing here in Indian country. So we're glad to be a part of this and join virtually from our chambers here on the reservation with a goal to strengthen our relationship and our communication with the state and the Tribal State Relations Committee. To date, I don't think that has been done. So, it would be making history for this tribe to be a part and be engaged in discussions when there are decisions being made that will and could affect our homelands. We don't have much to ask for of you today, but we will share a couple of items. We ask that the legislator, this committee, and staff reaches out to us directly when issues arise. It's very important that consultation and communication occurs specifically with official representatives of federally recognized tribes. While every Kansas has the right to speak to their state lawmakers, not just any person who identifies as or is a member of a tribe does not speak on our behalf. We have specific protocols for how we select official representatives who speak with the state government and what they share on behalf of the tribe. I'll leave an analogy with you folks here today that, for our neighbors would be any resident in Hiawatha is not allowed to speak on behalf of city government. So we expect the same courtesy. Additionally, the tribe is in negotiations with Governor Kelly on sports wagering amendments to our compact. And we look forward to working with the committee when the time comes for the committee to consider that compact. And, Chairman Rupnick had mentioned the Kansas and Nebraska Act as well. And those acts are causing issues here in Indian country as far as, us being a sovereign nation. The water issues that he talked about with the quality and the quantity of water, we're experiencing those same issues here. The difference between us and Prairie Band is we own and maintain and operate all of our water system. And it's challenging, with all of the nitrate issues that's increasing. It's challenging for this tribe with the small user population on that system, to justify the expense of building a reverse osmosis facility, and then the operation and maintenance of that would be challenging for us to afford as well. So one thing that we are working with is we've got an emergency hookup on the south side of our reservation with Brown Rural Water 2. So if things do get worse, we have that option to hook up to outside water. So we have that continued flow to our residents. One issue in water, we've got the state that is approving the water use permits here within the reservation. And there's a concern with the aquifers not replenishing themselves, that monitoring is not acceptable or being watched to make sure we stay ahead of those issues of those aquifers not replenishing. The Shawnee mission, that's a commonality here, and this tribe would believe that, it needs to remain in the owner of a tribe as well. Trying to think what else that we had. I think that was pretty much it. There's a lot more other issues, but I think, that's, like I said before, this is one of the first time that we've engaged in this setting. So just trying to get to know everybody and let them know of some of these smaller issues, and then we'll continue to evolve that relationship and, bring those issues to light. So we appreciate this opportunity and look forward to working with the state. And we're glad, and hopefully we'll build a strong, robust, sustained relationship with the state officials with the goal of legal structures to create opportunities for both the tribe and the state. The tribe is building a tribal economy right here in our backyard, and I think there's going to be some opportunities that's going to bring to the state of Kansas and Nebraska and Missouri, such as workforce and other opportunities as well. So I want to thank you, and I'm glad to stand for any questions at this time.
Very good. Thank you, Tim, for being here. Committee questions. Representative Alley.
Thank you. Thank you for being here today. One of the questions that I had was on your water supply. Is that water supply that you're presently using just for your reservation only? And then I also heard that you have a rural water that you could connect to. Is that correct?
That is correct. Right now, the tribe, we have 2 water wells here on our reservation that supplies just the residents of the res. And we are experiencing a high level of nitrate, which a lot of other states and communities are as well. And then, those water use permits, the state's approving those within the reservation boundaries that we have concerns with as well.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I have another question here. Representative Hasswood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Chairman, for being here today virtually. Are you also experiencing similar issues that Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation are experiencing, like with transportation, where the local government is using your enrollment numbers, but you're not seeing that benefit come back to the tribal community?
That's exactly the same thing. So, within our reservation, it's a 12 by 6 square mile reservation. We maintain all of our roads. We just currently just finished up a $3.2 million overlayment with asphalt. And that's exactly what's happening. All of the land that is within the boundaries of the reservation is taxed, and it's going to the counties with nothing in return to provide the support for law enforcement, roads. There's many, many issues that are coming out of that. So it's exactly the same.
Thank you.
Very good. Chair, I have just one question for clarification. So you did mention the Shawnee mission. So if you could clarify your stance on that.
Absolutely. I believe we're taking a neutral stance, but, we believe that the ownership should be by a Native American tribe. Who that tribe is, I don't know, but we are supportive of that property being back in the hands of the tribe, because we believe that the tribes will maintain and turn that property into something useful. That help?
That helps. So would you like to be the previous person mentioned that they wanted to be part of that. Would you also like to be part of that decision?
Oh, yeah, we definitely want to be a part of that opportunity of the decision. Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much. Committee, further questions? Okay, we have Dan Burrows on WebEx. He has a question for you.
Mine's about the road issue that both of the speakers so far have brought up. I'm curious and maybe I should have asked this previously, but what do you think the solution is to that? Because it strikes me that I understand the perceived unfairness of taking that property tax money and not spending it on the reservation. It seems there's a sovereignty issue at play there too. So is the demand that the county just also adequately consider roads on the reservation just the way that they do off reservation? Or is it that the county do a government to government transfer of some money or release their taxing authority? Like what's the proposed solution, I guess?
Well, I think there's two different solutions that I'm aware of. You know, anything that was in our reservation, you know, those taxes, property taxes should come back to the tribe so we can put those funds and offset the expenses of the operation and maintenance and resurfacing and all of those things so that would be one thing, or like you said, that government-to-government consultation with an agreement that a certain amount of the funds that they are capturing within the reservation property be paid back. Either way, I think would work. The counties are probably gonna not be open with this type of arrangement, just because anytime that we put our land into trust, we always have the counties that are you know, questioning that and appealing that property being into trust. So I think there will be issues there, but at the end of the day, the tribe is here maintaining all of the roads, all of law enforcement. We have our own healthcare. We own our own water system. You know, we are a sovereign nation, and the money that is collected off of those lands of our reservation should be given back or reappropriated in some case to help with those recurring costs year after year after year.
This is Joseph Rupnick, Chairman for Prairie Band, and either one of those solutions are acceptable. There has to be consultation with the tribes. There is none today. Just for example, and I got a meeting with the Secretary of Transportation later on this afternoon, we could not apply for a federal grant through the Department of Transportation because the safety plan by the county has not been submitted. And for some reason or another, we are under the county for the safety plan. My suggestion would be a administrative review of KDOT's policy to make sure that the nations are taken out of the safety plans for the county, since, again, they do not provide any services, they do not provide any other resources to the nations for roads and maintenance. That all comes from the tribe.
Very good. Thank you for that. Daniel, do you have additional questions?
No, Mr. Chairman, that answered my questions. Thank you.
All right, Senator Francisco.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this is probably a question for legislative research on some information that they could provide the committee. And this would affect water quality. Would tribal governments be eligible for grants under House Bill 2302 that was passed last year?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jordan Milholland, Legislative Research. I'd be happy to look into that question for you and also consult with the revisers about that particular bill, and we'll provide some information back to the committee.
And Jordan, I think there are several questions that have been brought up today that we can take a look at. Committee, further questions? Seeing none, Chair, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, next I have Chairwoman Gail Cheatham. Gail, welcome to committee.
Thank you very much. Again, my name is Gail Cheatham, and I do thank you for allowing me to speak. I am the newly elected chair since September of the Kickapoo tribe, and we have undergone many changes in our tribe. We have an entirely whole new council, with the exception of one who's previously served on tribal council. I'm also I'm the daughter of a Marine, the wife of a Army veteran, and I've also served as a FRG leader for the 35th MP out at Forbes for over 10 years. And let's see what else. I'm sorry. I didn't think I was going to get to speak, so I thought, well, I'll just sit back and listen. So thank you very much. We do echo, the Kickapoos echo what is happening with Prairie Band and the other tribes. I'm also a former executive director of the Native American Affairs Office under the Sebelius administration, and then worked closely when I was really young with Joan Finney. And when she worked with Steve, she was really close friends with Steve Cadieux. I was here when this committee first was established, and I can't remember. We were just talking about that. I believe Haley was one of the first members that served on the committee, as well as Dennis Hodgkins was your research person. And him and I developed over many years a really good friendship. So one of the things that the tribe, we started back in 99 and 2000, is we started and it came out of a conversation actually out of this committee, is like, why sometimes when the state, there's issues with the tribe, it seems like the tribes are the afterthought. So we decided to start a conference. It was called the Native Nations Law Symposium. And I know some of I think it was Susan Wagnall from Wichita, and I think Tony, I can't remember his last name. But it was really to, it just seemed like some of the new legislatures coming in, in maybe their welcome packet, that wasn't something that was, I believe I heard you say that. It was, what is a tribe? What is a federally recognized tribe? What is ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act? We had a gentleman speak out of Johnson County on ICWA, and he said every county has had a case of an Indian Child Welfare Act. What is that? Kickapoos, we just had a case out of Wichita, and our social service director spoke on that last week. Law enforcement didn't know what that was. We had a court order. The child was to go back to the tribe, and it was sad because it took over 5 hours. So I'm actually looking at, because I helped co-found that Native Nations Law Symposium, and we really had a good partnership with the state of Kansas, and y'all would come and speak, and there was this collaboration. I would really like to say that when there are issues that affect, I mean, I don't live on the Kickapoo Reservation. I have for a very short period of time. I am your constituent. I vote I live in Topeka. So I'm very aware of some of the issues here. Some of us don't all live on the reservation. We live in different areas. Some of us live in Kansas City. Some of us live in Atchison. So we live all over. So, it's when there are issues, the tribes need to be at the table. At the federal level, we have an executive order that's a consultation and collaboration with tribes. Now, I don't know if we have that here at the state or the legislature, but we really need to have that consultation and collaboration with tribes when there are dollars, whether it be state dollars. And like this water issue, our number one issue is water. We've been on a boil advisory since December 22nd, and we just got off of it a couple weeks ago. And we worked very hard with EPA in Region 7. We worked very hard with Rural Water District, and we actually have a meeting in a couple weeks with them. I don't know what has happened in the past, but it seems like our tribe and there's been some drama. Where there hasn't been a collaboration. There hasn't been communications. I know we were looking at trying to start the Plum Creek Water Project, and we are reevaluating some of the things that we can do. So water, number one, recently we had law enforcement, we lost that. We collaborated, our attorney negotiated with the Attorney General, and we were able to have patrol with Highway Patrol, with Brown County, and then with even the KBI. So we were, Jancita assisted us. I think some of you, we were letting you know what was happening. So we have the same issues as the Prairie Band, as the Iowa, as the Second Fox. And so, but like right now, our number one issue that we're dealing with is our water situation. We have a plethora of other issues. We are working very diligently to clean up stuff, but we are, so we too, we have a small water surface plant, and we are, I can't believe, like, learning so much about that. And then just the partnerships with people that are coming in, the different grants that are available. There's the hub at the state, which we are actively participating in that, utilizing, so we're writing some of those grants to some of the SMART grants that are available. And just really collaborating with the state of Kansas. So that's all I had. I do appreciate you letting me come up here. We also have with us today Sharon Dockstetter. She's a newly elected tribal council member. And then Sunny Bowado, who just was sworn in a couple days ago. So that's all I had for you today. And do you have any questions for me? Go easy on me, too.
Yeah, I get it. Very good. We will be, yes. Representative Hasswood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Chairwoman, for being here today, and council members as well. I remember in middle school reading about Kickapoo and water issues, and even in the paper in Lawrence it said, tribal nation advised not to hunt or fish. And I was like, if you're telling indigenous peoples they can't do that on their own land, we have a problem. Can you give more of that context of the water issue? I know this has been going on for decades, probably argue for a very, very long time. But I guess, are you guys facing similar issues like Prairie Band where you're not having that representation on these water districts? Or is it kind of coming downstream from Western Kansas? Or can you give a little bit more context to that? Thank you.
So that is very true about the water issue. When I was 15 years old, my uncle was on the tribal council. And I hated I didn't want to go over there and listen to all of the tribal politics and everything. And he said, remember this, niece, in 40 years, 45 years, the Kickapoo tribe is still going to be talking about water because we haven't addressed it, or we've had other issues. Well, I'm 60, and guess what? We're still talking about water. So again, I don't know what has happened in the past with Rural Water District 2. We did have a phone call with somebody who was very rude and only wanted to talk to our attorney. So we are actually, with the help of EPA and some of the other folks that we're working with, and I mean, we are collaborating with different agencies to address our water issue. So those meetings are happening now with the help of some other people and some other people just in the area that are serving on different committees. Just trying to see what is available, what is out there. We had a high turbidity level in our water. So we are off the Delaware. We're a single well, what's it called? Surface water, there we go, system. And so we're a utility. So it just, it's been there since the 70s. The site that it hosts, it was only meant to be a temporary site that's turned into here we are in 2024 still. So we've just put, we put a couple $100,000 in the last 3 months to fix and it's still not fixed. So we are looking probably at a complete overhaul of our water system. So, but we're reaching out. We're trying to rebuild those relationships with Rural Water District 2. From what I understand from different people, we have not had a voice at that table. So we're in the process of rebuilding.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any further questions? Seeing none, just a quick one. So where is your tribal land located in what county?
Okay, so if you go up north on 75 Highway and you turn on K20, that's where it is.
Okay, very good. Any further questions? Seeing none, thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for being here. Committee, further questions about anything regarding this meeting or the future or anything like that? I might just ask some of the members that testified here today and other members that if you would keep us informed on these issues as they come up. We can't be out there everywhere knowing what you're dealing with. And so if you would try through either my office, and I'll disseminate that information out to the committee as we get information back, but certainly let us know what's going on out there because we may or may not be aware of that. So I would ask that from Chairwoman.
Just a quick, so when Dennis Hodgins was in research, one of the things that he did is he would always research if there were anything that hit the paper. And he was like had a really strong relationship with the tribes. He worked with myself and Zeke Rupkiny's mother, Mamie Rupkiny. I remember he would, we just had that relationship. And it was like, over 20 years, you become really close. And so, we'll get his name too. But it was kind of a collaboration back and forth. And we will. I mean, all of the tribes, I know that they will reach out, and thank you for that.
Very good, thank you. Committee, anything else? Senator Bowers.
Mr. Chair, I could ask a quick question. How often do we meet? Can we meet on demand if there's an issue they'd like to bring forward? We're not, this is up to leadership to
Bonnie?
bring us forward?
So we could call a meeting on our own to discuss these issues. Senator Dowley.
We have met 2 or 3 times outside of this meeting that I know of when I've been on the committee. So.
Thank you, Jordan Milholland, Legislative Research. My understanding is that this committee is also similar to the other interim joint committees, and so if we were to ask for meeting days for the interim period as well, those could be asked for and approved by the LCC before the summer and we start having the other meetings. Otherwise, normally these interim joint committees, they can meet during session on session days as well without having had those days approved.
And Jordan, when would be the deadline to ask for an interim committee?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So with these, normally we send letters into the LCC. I would say usually in June or so is when we normally have sent letters in. That's when all my other ones usually do. And then the LCC usually meets sometime in early summer to approve a whole batch of those at once. And then, of course, if a need comes up later, you can always send in another letter to the LCC asking for approval of additional meeting days if needed.
Very good. Thank you for that. Committee, further questions?
Mr. Chairman, I just have one question. Can the tribes request a meeting if there's an issue that comes up? And if so, what is the process for that?
Jordan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My understanding is that with these interim committees, the requests come from the chairperson of the committee. However, if you were in communication with the tribes, that would be something that we could include in a letter when you're asking for an additional meeting day if it's outside of session.
Very good. I think that would be the proper way to do it is if you have a need for a meeting and some kind of subject, because a lot of times we'll need to gather all kinds of research to address that issue. But yeah, I think the committee would be more than happy to schedule a meeting. Representative Hasswood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Jordan, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of those meetings can be taken outside the Capitol.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Haswood, to the question, yes. So usually that's something we would ask for in the letter for approval from the LCC to cover those costs or, the salaries of legislators outside of meeting at the Capitol. So we would spell that out in the letter when we're asking to meet offsite if that's something that's desired.
Any further questions? Very good. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for electing me chair, and feel free, My door is always open, and feel free to contact me anytime. We're adjourned.